the recording. And so I was talking about,
The novel.
yes, the novel. So nowadays, if you see, that is domain, a specific domain. When you're addressing someone, the setting is different. You are addressing the participants are different. That is, you are addressing your readers, right? And the way you use language, it has changed with the passage of time. There is this variation that has occurred in one domain. Similarly, and you might have seen that uh, the change that change, that variation is actually um, the part of the language. It's not a language shift. Remember, there is difference between language shift and language variation. I hope you all know about language shift, or no? Language shift is changing from one language to another language in a domain, or in a community. That is a language shift. Like one, for example, Hinko speakers have stopped using Hinko at their home with their kids. Or even Pashto speakers have stopped using Pashto with their kids. Now they say, because the kids are, they have difficulty when they go to school. So they have started using English with their kids right from the beginning. So the language has changed. This is a language shift where sorry, there this is the language change, which where the whole community is starting to shift the language from one to another, which is happening right now with Hinko speakers. Because you might have seen that Hinko speakers are shifting from Hinko to Urdu. Is it the case?
Yes, and
Yes.
most of the Punjabis as well.
Yes, most of
It
the
is,
Punjabis as well. Yes.
and the Hindko speakers are now shifting to Pashto more.
Pashto more. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Like
In Peshawar,
In
even in
they
Peshawar.
Peshawar,
are a
yes,
lot
they
of
have
people.
shifted to Pashto from Hinko.
Okay, I'm not aware of that, but there were, I've read a research which says that Hinko speakers are shifting from uh, Hinko to Urdu. I don't know about Pashto. You need to conduct that research. Probably then we'll be able to know.
That was in the previous generation. Like when if I talk about my grandparents, so
Mm.
when they used to talk with their children in Hinko, now their children talk with us, like our parents, in Urdu. And because there is more Pashtun influence now, so Pashto is being more dominant, more because of the social media and the songs and all of that. So now most of the people I know who are Hinko speakers, they are much more fluent in Pashto rather than in Urdu.
Okay. You people need to conduct research.
Same as the case with Punjabi, ma'am. In the urban areas, majority of the Punjabi speakers they have shifted from Punjabi to Urdu.
Punjabi to Urdu?
Not only the urban speakers, not only the
No,
urban, the rural area people are also taking a shift. People from Sheikhupura and all those area, Faisalabad villages, they speak more fluently in Urdu as compared to Punjabi.
It's not about speaking more fluently. It's about
no, no.
the language that they use in their home domain as their language.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. That they use Urdu more, and their parents and they prefer to use Urdu rather than Punjabi.
Yeah, you can be as a bilingual. You can be fluent at speaking two languages. I mean, Urdu or Punjabi. But when it comes to the use of language in different domains, then we say that there is a shift, and that shift is when that shift is based on the community. Then there is a language shift. That is, the whole community is trying to shift from one language to the other. Are you getting my point? That is, majority of the people are shifting from one language to the other. However, that when that specific thing is happening with one family or two families or three families here and there in one community, that is not a language shift. Language shift is when you see that majority of the community is shifting from one language to another in a specific domain. Claire, are you clear about the the difference?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay, let's come
Yes,
towards
ma'am.
the who says no clear. No, not who says it's not clear. Claire?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So I've told you that we're going to discuss the. Can you see the screen? Is it visible to you all?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
this is
Yes,
visible.
ma'am. It is clear.
Okay, let's study this model. Okay, this is called the 3D model, and it is based on a work of Halliday. And this three-dimensional model is used for the is used as a model for the domains as well. So when we look at this domain, have you studied it in mode, tenor? Have you studied it in linguistics? This was the part of linguistics, even if you have done masters. Mode, tenor.
Yes, we have, but it's been a long time now.
Yes,
Anyone who remembers tenor, mode,
yes, ma'am.
and
It
field?
has been discussed in sociolinguistics by Hudson.
And what's field, tenor, and mode? Can you please differentiate?
That is, I think, ma'am, the medium, the topic, and the participant, etc.
Yes,
I
very
don't
good.
exactly remember.
Okay, I'll explain it to you. Field is when what is being spoken or written about, means what is the
The subject matter.
The
exactly.
context, the
Yes,
subject,
not the context, but the subject actually. That is field,
subject. All right.
right? Tenor is when you talk about the participants, that is the user, which you can see over here, right?
Like
The
the
user.
relationship
Yes, the
between.
user. And mode is actually how is the communication
Medium.
happening? Yes, exactly, the medium. And you can see the mode here as well. Can you see the mode here?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is actually the three-dimensional model. Are you getting three-dimensional
Ma'am,
model?
what's mode?
Yes, ma'am.
Mode is the way you are, like the medium through which you are communicating, whether it's written, whether it's oral, and now we have a different medium as well, which is internet.
Yes.
Is it though it is written, but in text message is a completely different mode in which you are communicating to someone.
Yes, but it's also there whether the communication is face to face or it's on phone or
Exactly. And this would make a difference in the way you use language. So when you are
yes, ma'am.
texting someone, you if there are people, there are domains in which you speak in Pashto when you are talking to when you're communicating from face to face. However, when it comes to who sent a text message? Yes, Fahim, yes. Okay. So when you're communicating face to face, you'll speak in Pashto, but when you're texting, you'll never text in Pashto. So for example, there are students, when they are communicating to me face to face, they'll start in Urdu, they'll start speaking in Urdu. But when they are texting me, or when they are sending message to me, even it's informal message that is on WhatsApp, still they'll try to speak in English and they'll try to communicate in English. Are you getting my point? That is,
Yes, ma'am.
so
Yes,
mode
ma'am.
mode has changed with the passage of time, and that is why we say that there is this variation occurring, because now when we are typing a message, half is in Pashto, half is in Urdu, and half is in English, because of this domain of text messages. Things have changed a lot, right? Domain is different, right? Because the setting is different. You're sitting far away, but you are still communicating to the other person, right? You're communicating to the other person, and it's completely different communication. This is where the problem comes in. Like you have to, when you're communicating with the person, and you have to do the research, this is how you identify the problems. So the problem is that things are changing. We are communicating through the medium is completely different, the mode is completely different, right? And the use that is why you're using. So for that, if you look at this framework, you'll know that this mode here in this model, they are only talking about written conversation, but you can change this mode here. Depends which depends on what are you taking as a research. Are you taking this recording of this class as a communication? That is, are you applying this model on this lecture? If you're applying it on this lecture, the mode will change here. The mode will change to what?
Spoken like.
Exactly, spoken, or maybe conversation like, right? Spoken conversation like, spoken conversation. So the mode will change here. The use is this is a journal term that is specialized or technical discourses. That is the way I am communicating to you. What am I communicating to you right now? What is the topic of our communication, right? It will change according to what you are analyzing. What is that you are analyzing, right? The user would also change. That is, if you remember, we discussed those scales. That is the formality
Formality
scale. Exactly,
scale.
exactly. So it depends on the user as well, that how the user is going. According to the user, this would also change. Here we have oral like. That is, if there is a mix of it, you can also use it. That is the oral like, whether the communication is oral like or whether the communication is mixed. Can you give me an example of mix, oral like and written? Can you give me an
And
example?
right now we are also texting and we are also speaking. So I think
Very
it's the
good.
mixture of both.
Yes. Or for example, WhatsApp messages. You send an audio and then you start texting to an audio, you reply in written. The communication is mixed, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
The
Exactly.
mode is mixed, right? So this can also vary, depends on like on what you are applying this model. So is it that you are looking at the social distance, or is it that you are looking at something else? That is, you're looking at the formality scale, or you're looking at the social distance scale, or you're looking at any other thing depends on the users, right? It depends on the users whether you're looking at the power relationship between two people, or the people who are communicating with one another. Clear? Is the model clear to you
Yes,
all?
ma'am.
So it you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
you can alter this model. You can alter this model based on what you are analyzing. So for example, if you are analyzing a text message of WhatsApp, then you can change it. Even Facebook comments. These are the research topics that I'm discussing here. Okay, the issues that you can explore in sociolinguistics. For example, you are exploring, or you're trying to explore in the research these comments. Let's suppose there was a student who who was working with me on a topic. It was about sexual harassment, and that harassment was the case was of Misha, if you know about that, and Ali Zafar. And she took this these comments on the post, or on the post that they have made. So she was trying to analyze those. So though the research was different, but you can also, if you are taking these comments on a specific issue, then you see how people are reacting to that, and the way they are communicating. So for example, if a person sends a meme rather than sending a text message, completely different. Memes started recently. We don't we had no memes previously, But now you can communicate with memes through memes. You can communicate the whole idea through memes. People even dedicate songs in order to communicate. They don't say it directly to the other person, but they try to communicate through songs.
Even the WhatsApp statuses are like that.
Yeah, WhatsApp style. Yeah, but it's more, you can say it's more psychological perspective of that, rather than
And through
social.
emojis as well in
You
text
can
messages.
communicate through emojis as well. Yes, exactly, through emojis. But this emojis has been explored a lot in research. There's a lot of research on emojis. So you can go for, other researches, like the topics that I have just talked about here. You can go and explore these areas. Okay, there are eight broad domains of language variation that they talk about. But though we don't have to go into detail of language variation, so I'm just I have just explained the 3D model to you. I'll share this research paper with you, and you can uh, you can read it by yourself. Is it fine? These are
Yes,
the eight.
ma'am.
It's a
Yes, ma'am.
they're very easy. When you give it a single read, you'll understand it. Eight domains of language variation based on 3D framework, because they were exploring um, uh, eight all these eight domains of language variation. Right? You can explore other things in relevance to this 3D model. You can explore anything related to this 3D model. Right? By using this 3D model, you can explore anything, but that depends how innovative you are when it comes to research. Okay, let's go back to what we were discussing, and that is it clear so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Clear.
Let me share the other screen with you. Is the screen visible to you, that book?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's go ahead. What were we discussing? Domains of language use. It Okay, who's that? Afshin, switch off your annotations. Okay, if you have read this chapter, you know what is this model. You can also use this model for domain as well, but it's a very simple model when it comes to, you can use it on the yeah, at BS level, but for MS level, I don't think so. It would be just for in literature review, you can use it, but apart from that, I don't think so. You should use it in um, in MS as a model. Uh, yeah, do you understand this model, this diagram, or do I need to explain it to you?
Ma'am, explain it.
Yes. Explain it. Who is it? Kainat?
Yes. Mhm. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone who understood it? Anyone in this class? Anyone else who understood it and they can explain it? Is everyone sleeping?
No, ma'am, we are listening to you.
Okay. Anyone else who understood it? Yes, Haris and Ramin. I think
Yes, ma'am.
Ramin, yes, I taught you people sociolinguistics, right? In BS. Ramin, Ramin Jabbar.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, can you elaborate it?
Ma'am, in this figure, we are given with two languages, and I think that Portuguese is someone's first language and English is official language. So in this figure, in the first home, so yes plus means they can speak this Portuguese at home, and no
Yes.
minus means that they cannot. And then in church, they can speak yes is plus and no is minus. At work, English they can speak.
Mhm.
And what is the last? I cannot see. Is it
It's school,
social or
school.
School.
school? Okay. Okay, so in English they can speak English because yes is plus and no is minus, so they cannot.
Yes, very good. It's that easy and simple. So the domains that they have explained, these are the domains. You can add more domains when it comes to research, right? You can add more domains. However, here they have only elaborated four domains to you, that is home, church, work, school. You can add market because that's a domain too. Like for example, here even Hinko speaker when is going to a market, they try to, or for shopping, they try to speak in Pashto in order to gain some, advantage. I hope you're getting what I'm trying to say. So the language which is used in different domains in a community, in any community, right? You this is a model for that. So this plus means that home domain, for home domain, this is the language which is used, or this is the code which is used. Then this minus shows that now the domain has ended, means home domain has no link with the church domain, or church domain this minus and no means that church domain has nothing to do with the work domain, and work domain has nothing to do with the school domain, means these domains are changing, right? So in home domain you can use this language, and this church domain, you don't write it repeatedly that the same language is used, so you just link it like this, plus and plus. Then this in work domain the language has changed, so it would go to English once again, and in school domain the language is also English, so it is also linked over there, and the plus and yes sign shows that this is this line is actually the yes of this language, right? Claire?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's
Okay, though
clear.
I'll appreciate if you use other models rather than this. It's a very simple and basic model. So for BS level, it's fine, but for MS, just use it for in literature review in order to, elaborate things in literature review, but try not to use it in as a model. Or you can bring change in this model if you can, that is rather than using it as a simple model, you can use a conceptual framework and try to change it if you can. Okay, conceptual framework. I guess all of you have studied research methodology.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good, so you
Yes,
will
ma'am.
be able to understand. Okay, what are the other factors affecting code choice? Code choice, can anyone just tell me what are the other factors that can uh, change code choice? We have already discussed it.
Yes, ma'am. There is that state is formality and other.
Yes, domains of language
It's the
use.
same one, the H variety and the L variety that affects the language choice.
Can anyone tell me what is H and L variety?
Can I,
Yes,
ma'am?
ma'am. Yes, it comes under diglossia.
Okay.
We have two different varieties,
Okay.
high variety and low variety.
Hmm.
Like if we take the example of Arabic, so there is that kind of classic Arabic, which is the language of Quran, and there is the local variety or the low, which is used in day-to-day life applications.
Yes. Yes, very good. So what is that? How a high variety is determined and how a low variety is determined? Okay, before that, tell me what is diglossia. Yes, anyone? What is diglossia?
When two different languages are used in the same community.
Anyone else?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yes,
Afshin.
ma'am.
Yes,
It's
please.
the coexistence of the two same related languages,
Hmm.
but those two languages in a community, it's regarded as prestigious and a lower grade.
Okay. Yes, Fahim, you were saying something, please.
Ma'am, when two or it could be even more than two varieties of the same
Yes.
language are spoken in the same speech community, then we refer it to diglossia.
Yes. We said language varieties, right? Diglossia,
Yeah,
language variety. I have a
yeah.
question for you all. Is it the language? Is it the language, or is it the variety or codes? That is, can you say that um, Pashto and Urdu and English can be diglossia? Can it be
No,
diglossic
actually,
situation?
in
No, ma'am, there
diglossia we have
is
the same language, but we use different varieties like high and low variety in different situation.
So this means that two languages cannot be.
Yes, cannot be diglossia.
Anyone?
Ma'am, like for example, we said before that two different or distinct varieties of the same language in the same speech community. For example, if we talk about Pashto, Yusufzai Pashto is considered as a high variety, and for example, it is considered as high variety, and the Pashto which is spoken in our city areas, for example, that is considered as low variety. So we could simply say the Pashto which is used by um, Yusufzai, for example, Abbasin, it is
Yes.
basically a high variety, and the Pashto that we people basically speak, which is basically like a combination of overall. Like pickle, we use Pashto words and English words and all those things, which is not pure Pashto at all. So I could name it even as low variety of language. So basically, if for example if I'm with you in the office or might be in the class with you, so definitely my inclination will be towards the high level or the high variety. And if we are, for example, sitting in the cafe with friends, so definitely we do not care of that.
Okay. Yes.
may,
Anyone
may I
else?
say something,
Because
ma'am?
who is
There is
it?
one more thing.
Wait for a minute.
I
Shabina, right? Shabina, it's correct. And you're not audible, okay? Maybe there's something wrong with your mic. Yes, who
Can
was
I give
saying?
another example, ma'am? Is Afshin,
Afshin,
ma'am.
wait, Afshin. Who was it? Was it Mansoor?
yes, ma'am, I would say something.
Yes,
That,
please.
ma'am, it has happened in the history. We have studied in some books that after the Anglo-Norman period in England, French was given a high status. So some of the writers, they have also noted that yeah, that there was that kind of diglosic situation, that English was that French was the higher variety, and English was the lower one. And same was the case with Latin in the Europe, that Latin language was given that high status. The rest of the vernacular language, the local languages, didn't enjoy that status. So can we? So my question is that can we include that in that diagnostic situation?
This is what this is what my question towards you all is as well, because it's written in this chapter. It's written in this
Okay.
chapter that can you add, if you have read this chapter, can you add in a diglosic situation, can you add two languages, right? Because they talked about two varieties of the same language, right? They say that there has to be, if you can read this portion, that there are these three crucial features which are associated with diglossia, and that is that two distant varieties of the same language are used in the community, with one regarded as high variety and the other regarded as low variety. Each variety is used for quite distinct functions, means they have different functions for which they are, and no one uses the high variety in everyday conversation, right? But there were times when the languages were like, later on they were considered as two different languages, but initially they were not two different languages. And there was this one language which was considered, the each language was to perform different functions, right? Both languages were spoken in the same community, and no one used that high variety in everyday conversation. So does that make it a diglosic situation or not? This is the question that I asked you all. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll give you this as an assignment. Can you hear me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll give
Yes,
you
yes,
people
ma'am.
this as an assignment, because it is a very, you need to know what previously people, I'm giving you I'm giving you, ideas or hints over here. What previously uh diclosia started as, what was diclosia, how it changed, and what is it now, right? How it started, what people thought diclosia is, how it changed, and what is it considered now, diclosia, right? And I'm also giving you this this as in an assignment, that is diclosia with bilingualism and without bilingualism, right? But before that, I need to let me elaborate few things as a, right now what we considered as diclosia, and the rest um, you can do in your assignment. The rest I'll explain. um, these are the three conditions that should be there when it comes to diclosia, and as Fahim gave the example, Fahim gave a correct example, this appropriately fits in diclosia, right? This is a diclosic situation where in a in one, because diclosia is a situation which is related to in which is related to the communities, and it is not related to individual. So we always say it's a diclosic situation, but in bilingual we can say that bilingualism can be applied to a single individual as well. So me in a diclosic situation can be I'm left with 5 minutes in this session. If you want, if you people want, I can take another section with session with you all.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Okay. Okay, so if we have what was the example, yes, so if I am if I am in a diclosic community, right, where high and low variety of the same language is spoken, high and low variety of the same language. So I'll give you example of let's suppose of a person who, like, in Pashto, that we have a person who speaks different a variety when they are home, and a different variety when they are in marketplace, or when they are communicating to the teacher. This is the high variety that they speak. So in that situation, it is diclosia, that is language which is used in the community, right? The two high and low variety of the same language used within the community, in one community. However, uh, this high variety is always considered prestigious, and that is why it is high variety. Depends on whether this it is associated uh, with the community which speaks that language, that is the people who are enjoying high status in the society. It depends on that scenario, or maybe because it is the language which is used in media, or it is the language in which books are written, I mean the variety in which books are written, and you know go on like that. So in based on a specific community, if I am in a diclosic situation, that is in a community where two different varieties are spoken, but I myself am a bilingual, that is not only that I can use this one um, one language, and in that one language I can speak two varieties, but I can also speak one other language. So that community is not is not bilingual, but that community is diclosic, but I myself am bilingual, right? So there are communities who are bilinguals, and at the same time diclosia is also there. That means the communities have diclosic situations, and at the same time it is possible that the communities are, can you see this diagram? I'll elaborate it in through this one.
Yes, ma'am.
So are you clear about diclosia? It is of, it is
Yes, ma'am.
associated with one language, right? It is associated with one language, but um, then it has to be linked with the domains as well. We again came to the domains. So if you look at this diagram which was given by Fishman, and this idea was also introduced by Fishman for the first time. uh, so this if you see that, if a community is bilingual, that is, if they can if they can speak two languages, and at the same time they can use two, and they in the community also use two different varieties of the same language. For example, Pashto. So in a community, I'll give you a simple example. That is, for example, in one community they can speak Urdu and they can speak Pashto, but then at the same time they can speak two varieties in a Pashto, and in Urdu there are no two varieties, there is just one variety, that is, so they are speaking two languages, but within these two languages there is a diclosia situation. That is, in one language they can use two different varieties of that language, that is high variety and low variety. Are you clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So here,
Ma'am,
yes,
Yes, it's clear.
it's not clear.
no, ma'am. Like you said that in a community, there are two languages, Urdu and Pashto. You were giving an example regarding this. Would like to explain it again, please?
There are two languages, because you know what is bilingualism? Bilingualism is that when you are able to speak, or not just able to speak, but the communities, they can speak two languages, right? That is, let's suppose Pashto language and Urdu language. It's just supposition, because we are multilingual community. So uh, bilingualism is like, you can speak Pashto and you can speak Urdu, right? These are two languages. But there is also a diclosic situation, that is, there is a high variety for that and there is a low variety for that. High variety is when you can use that variety in in um, um, in courts, or in